All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Leah from the Tiny Bookstore, greeting you on this wonderful but little bit stormy Saturday afternoon. And what I was wanting to do today is just kind of give everyone a few ideas of what to do to keep the kids occupied during the winter break. I know that with the entire pandemic, a lot of us had to get creative as far as things to do. So what I just kind of figured is that even though we all have a lot of experience in trying to keep our kiddos occupied, just offering up a few new and different ideas. And at the end of the stream, I'm actually going to go ahead and double back and also give y'all a little housekeeping and information for our holiday shopping. So let's go ahead and get into our talk about what to do with your kids during this holiday break. Okay, so one of the things that I think is an underappreciated asset is the dollar store, or what I like to call the aisle of cheap temptation at Target. And all of you Target shoppers out there know what I'm talking about. How, when you walk into the store, there's the area that has a whole bunch of knickknacks and other tchotchkes. They tend to be very well priced, and they have a lot of different options for keeping people occupied. They have playing cards for games like Old Maid, just all sorts of Go Fish, all of those cute little games. They also have bubbles. And one of the things that I like to remind people of that bubbles are not just a summertime activity. It's something that you can actually do year round. I know it's can leave a little bit of a splotchy mess. You've got to be careful about what furniture you're using it around, but it is something that is a little bit different that you can do over the holidays. Now, as far as the entire idea of going to those cheaper areas, the entire idea of it is that you want to try to go for volume. So, what I mean by that is that you want to have a lot of different options for different things that'll keep kids occupied because nowadays the winter break is a good 2 weeks long. And if you don't want your kids to be just kind of obsessed with the screen and really like just kind of focusing in on that screen time, I don't know if you can really do much better than having activities that they can do with their hands. And dollar stores are often overlooked as resources because, for better or for worse, and whether it's accurate or not, a lot of people think that you're not necessarily going to find things that are high quality. Now, being a bargain shopper extraordinaire, I know that you can find some, pretty solid quality things at the dollar store and in the aisle of cheap temptation at Target. But if you are looking for things where you're not going to be heartbroken, if they're not used quite as well, then the dollar store is the way to go. So if you're looking for arts and craft supplies, no one's here is going to be Pablo Picasso. We're not going to be trying to sell any of this art. It's just something that's going to be, fun. So go to that dollar store and pick up the construction paper and, drawing pads. They have the pom poms. As much as it may pain me to mention glitter because I know that people might light up our reviews and comments for us recommending glitter, but glitter is really a fun thing for kids, for better or for worse. And hey, one of the brighter ways of looking at it is that the glitter that you use today is going to be there whenever you sell your house. So, consider using that as a fun little craft activity. So other things that you might find at the dollar store is Play-Doh or, Play-Faux. It's not necessarily going to be name brand, but with the very nature of what Play-Doh is, I don't really think it has to be name brand. Like it's just something that again, it should be fun and something that, isn't necessarily going to be designed to be used over and over again for several years. So when you're taking your kids to the dollar store or like I said the aisle of cheap temptation, what I would recommend is letting the kids go out and pick what they want. It can be a little bit scary because you never know what it is exactly that they're going to want to choose, but as long as you're not taking them down the aisle that has like, roach bait or anything like that, just make sure that whatever they're grabbing is safe. Kids are more likely to be invested in the things that they've picked out than something that you're picking out for them. You'll never know if your kid is going to be in the mood to try to do floral arrangements by taking a trip down, the fake flower aisle at the Dollar Tree. So, turn them loose, let them pick things out, and really Let them get creative, because a lot of times something that you see, like a one of those foam cones, might be something that you just think is for floral arrangements. Your kid might turn that into a Christmas tree, or they might turn it into a form for paper mache. Oh, and with that entire idea of paper mache, keep in mind the fact that if you happen to have a physical newspaper subscription, you're going to want to start holding on to those for the next few weeks, or at least until the end of the break, so they have that as an option for creativity. So while you're in those stores, be on the lookout for models. And I'm talking like, little balsa wood airplanes. They have little cars that you can paint. They actually even have blank t shirts if you're going to the right dollar store, whether it's Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar. A lot of times they have those, less expensive options for t shirts and other things that you can decorate. Now, another option that we have is trying toys, puzzles, and inexpensive books. Yeah, I know. Telling people to go to the dollar store to pick up some inexpensive books might work a little bit against, our entire, retail model. But ultimately, I'm here to help y'all out. And I don't think there's any shame in going to the dollar store and picking up some, solid reads at a bargain price. Again, what we're going for here is volume and making sure that, your kids and your family have whatever they need to keep themselves occupied over a good 2 week period. And there are some great books just for regular reading. There are also some great books for activities, coloring books, activity books, crossword puzzles, word searches, you name it, they've got it. And one of the things to keep in mind is to make sure that you want to keep everyone within a budget. So not only are you giving your kids a way to find them things to keep themselves occupied, you're also going to teach them financial responsibility and how to maintain a budget. So you tell them at the outset, hey, this is how much you have to spend. For the ones who might need like a little note card to keep track of how much they're spending, you can definitely do that. But I think for the most part, when you set a kid loose in a store, you'll be surprised at how good they are at keeping track of that type of math. Very, very good at keeping track of that type of math, for the record. Now, some of the other locations that you're going to find some of these activities and other fun things to do: Lowe's and Home Depot. A lot of kids like doing things with their hands. I think it's pretty safe to say that most kids like doing like little fun little crafts. And Lowe's and Home Depot, they both have, it's like, did I spell that right? Is that Lowe's with an apostrophe S? Well, too late for that now. But ultimately, at both stores, they have crafts that kids can use, tools to do. If your kids don't have their own tool sets, hey, they can borrow yours. Or, an interesting Christmas gift idea might be to get your kid a cute little craftsman set for kids, because they do actually have kitty sized tool sets, and they've got all sorts of things that you can make: little candy dispensers, portable cars, you can make a birdhouse, all sorts of fun things. Now, Jillian Fabrics and Michaels, they also have model kits and other kit activity crafts, so that's something to really keep in mind when you're there. And as far as the entire idea of having your kids in there shopping with you and giving them a budget, you can pretty much do that at any store that you go to. So just keep that in mind next time you plan on doing a run to Lowe's and Home Depot. Take the kids along with you so that way they can pick out some activities for themselves. Okay, now, I love, love, love the local library. Even when I was a little kid, that was my happy place. I actually liked it more than Toys R Us. May Toys R Us rest in peace. But they have a whole world of opportunity, a whole world of information right there in the library. But libraries have more than books. They have DVDs for those of you who still have DVD players. They have games that you can borrow, they have activities. And if you have a library membership, specifically, I know in Allegheny County, if you have a library card with one of the Allegheny County Library Association membership group, you can actually access a lot of online resources. Scholastic has a great resource called Teachables, where they have little worksheets and printouts that you can do with different activities. If you have a library card in Allegheny County, that's something that you can access for the bargain price of free. So, just keep in mind, go to that library site and look for the resources that they have. And if you haven't yet, find your local library on social media, because a lot of times they have activity packs that they're giving away that you won't necessarily know about unless you're following them on social media. So it's a great way to be aware of what resources they have and what great new books they have in there as well. Now, one other resource that I did mention that's part of the library system as far as what they have online, they have audiobooks. They have the Libby app that, it's not quite as, it's like, how can I put this? It's not going to be like the corporate competitors. There are going to be wait lists, but what I found is that for selections for kids, the wait lists don't necessarily tend to be quite as long, but you can always find something good to read without leaving your house if you use the online resources that your local library happens to have. Okay, so I know, and especially as someone who grew up in Florida, trying to go outside around this time of year under normal circumstances is a nightmare. Now, right now, it looks like the temperature outside is about 62 degrees. So, hey, Pittsburgh weather, right? But, once the winter really starts getting real, it's kind of more complicated to find ways to get your kids moving, to make sure that they're getting their cardio and staying active. What you'll want to do is find places for indoor recreation. So that means places like Fun Slides, that is one of the locations in Pines Plaza, which is also, hey, where we're located. It's at 1130 Perry Highway up in Ross Township, and it is a carpet skate park. When I first heard about that, I'm like, wait, a carpet skate park? How exactly does that work? And basically, you strap these little carpet slides on your feet and you just go around sliding. It is a cool activity. Kids absolutely adore it, and it's something that I would highly recommend. So that's Fun Slides up in Ross Township. Other outdoor activities include, ice skating. If there are any places to ski, I'm not sure if any of them are open, but hey, Google it, look into it. I don't think that most of the locations are open for now, but as far as ice skating, you can take the kids downtown to do that, and also, just kind of visit local rinks as well. Now, as far as getting your kids moving indoors, you can actually use one of those little jogging rebounders or kitty sized trampolines. I know that the Lil Tykes company has a really solid trampoline that they have for kids, up to about 4 or 5 years of age. And it is a great way for kids just kind of burn some energy. It's something that they can do while they're getting their screen time. They can just be jumping around while they're watching TV. So it's a great investment, not just for the winter, anytime there's inclement weather, you can always have that rebounder or trampoline. And again, what I noted there is that you want to consult your physician to make sure that the trampoline is going to be safe. We're not responsible if someone trips and falls off the trampoline, but they're very tiny. Just be careful when you're doing that. Now, other ideas as far as getting kids moving while they're inside is actually using that screen time against them. And by against them, I mean, there are a lot of physical activity games that are available for most of the gaming platforms. Just Dance 2022 is out, and it's fun. A lot of times it's fun for the people who are watching, everyone who is trying to dance. I know that my family has gotten few kicks out of watching me trying to nail some of those dance moves, but it is something that's fun. For the Switch, in my humble opinion, it seems to have a wider assortment of those physical activity type games where they have like outdoor games. They have the Ring Fit where the kids are kind of running with a little ring and you squeeze it. It's very cute. There's the Zumba game, but a whole assortment of basically a lot of exercise games that you can use for kids. Another idea, if you're not really completely on board with using gaming systems, or if you don't want to use that for that particular purpose, check out YouTube, because a lot of times you'll see some child friendly workout options that are done by people who are personal trainers. Again, you're going to want to review that before you have your kids do it, but you have somewhere they're just kind of play acting, doing Super Mario Brothers. So you'll be like you're playing a stage in Mario where you've got to run and then jump and hit the box, and they put these kids through like just different movements so that way they are getting moving, they're staying active, and it's a great way to burn some of that excess energy that little tykes can have around this time of year. Okay, so one of the things that can be a little bit problematic is if your kid comes to you saying, like, okay, hey, I'm bored, there's nothing to do, you don't have any workbooks, you didn't get the chance to go to the Dollar Tree, and now it's like 10 p.m., so you can't go. What you can do if you're in a pinch is just go online and, look for the resources that are available there. Do a Google search for puzzles. You'll be surprised at what you can find. You can find crossword puzzles. You can generate your own crossword puzzles using different words. You can make it holiday themed. Like you can find recipes online to make your own Play Doh and to make your own, air dry or oven baked clay. I think that from a particular perspective, doing the do-it-yourself clay and Play-Doh is a little bit more sustainable. You know exactly what's going into it. What I would advise is keep some, cream of tartar on hand because it's something you'd need to have for that Play-Doh, but also having flour on hand and salt. So that way you do have the option of doing these DIY recipes for kid type activities and crafts. Now, in addition to all of this, you can always, as I know I mentioned last week in our live stream with Cindy, having your kids get involved in the merriment and the magic making of the holiday season. Bring your kids into the kitchen to, have them help you make cookies or do gingerbread houses. There are a lot of different options. I know that a lot of people used to string popcorn back in the day, and that's something that isn't necessarily done anymore. If your kids are bored, bring that back. Just don't use microwave popcorn because that ends up being a greasy mess. Not speaking from experience. Now, other options that you have for things that are available online, you can visit museums and zoos online. It's not quite the same as actually seeing, a panda bear in person, but it is kind of interesting to get that particular camera view, and it's something that's not necessarily watching Blippi for the 15th time in an hour. Other options that you have are doing art classes online and yoga classes online, other types of physical activity. If you look for different creators on social media and also on YouTube, they have a lot of resources for you to be able to do that. All right, and so that is my rundown of different activities that will help keep your kiddos occupied during the holiday break. If you have any questions, if you're in a pinch and you just don't know what to do, hey, send us a text, get in touch with us on social media. We'll try to do what we can to help you if we can. So, getting back to the tiny bookstore and what we're doing as far as the holiday season and, just kind of making sure that everyone has their gifts all situated. What you'll want to be aware of is that if you were looking to have things sent by media mail or by priority mail, that deadline has actually already passed. We still have options available if you want to do ground shipping or curbside pickup, or if you want us to do local delivery. That is still going to be an option right up until December 12th. So if you're looking to order a book from us and it's something that we don't have available on hand, if you're just doing a search online, you're going to want to make sure that you have that order in by 10 a.m. on December 12th. Now, to wrap this up, what I want to do is just kind of let you guys in on a couple of books that I plan on reading this week. The first one is called The Kindred by Alicia Dow, and that is scheduled to come out on January 4th of 2022. Can't believe we're almost in January, but hey, here we are. And what this is about, it's described as being a royal romantic adventure following a duke and a commoner, mind-linked from birth, framed for murder, and hunted across the galaxy by those who want to kill them and steal their kingdom. Now, the reason why I grabbed this one was because it sounds like it has a little bit of everything. Like right now, I'm kind of trying to dial back on all the serious reading that I've been done because it has been a very stressful 2 years. So I wanted to just really kind of get into just fun reads, getting back into sci-fi and speculative fiction, and also a little bit of romance for the holiday season. And I was a little bit surprised that this had everything in it. Now, again, unfortunately, it's not available to everyone until January, but, just put that on your TBR. It's The Kindred by Alicia Dow. Now, another book that I'm picking up and I'm hoping to finish actually by the end of tomorrow is called How to Wrestle a Girl by Vanita Blackburn. And it actually came out back in September, and I'm going to give a description that's far better than the one that I could offer. So, according to Danielle Evans, who's the author of The Office of Historical Corrections, she said Vanita Blackburn's How to Wrestle a Girl is bold and inventive, moving between sharp realism and work that shifts the rules of the form, the body, or the physical world, finding new ways to tell the stories of how girls are taught to be girls. Blackburn has the talent to put words to the things we thought existed just outside of language, but she also has the wise restraint to bring us just close enough to look directly at the things that aren't words for and leave them unsaid. So it's a collection, like the way that I saw it is that it seemed like a collection of short stories to me. And it's following a girl who's basically it's a coming of age type collection of stories. And it's following this girl as she's learning to learn more about herself and, how does she cope with those expectations that society has for her and how does she reconcile that with who she sees herself as being and becoming. So it's a short book. I do tend to favor shorter reads and short stories around this time of year because things do get kind of hectic. Well, more hectic than usual, but and I think that again it's a really it has some depth to it, but it doesn't necessarily seem like it's going to be too overwhelming. So I'm excited. I will report back to y'all what I think about this, but I know I can't wait to get into that. So again, that's How to Wrestle a Girl by Vanita Blackburn. And the other book that I'm looking at is The Kindred by Alicia Dow. And like I said, I'll let you all know what I think of those books. So that is all I have for today. I look forward to talking to you guys again next week for our next Tiny Bookstore Live. And if you have any questions, ideas, things that you want me to talk about, like I said, you can hit us up on our social media, comment below, or you can call us or send us a text message. So with that, I want to wish y'all a very happy rest of your Saturday. Batten down the hatches if you happen to be in the Western Pennsylvania area with the weather that we're seeing here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time on the Tiny Bookstore Live.